Breaking news, everyone. The thing that we all already knew was true is true. It, it's good for the self-esteem, to reaffirm that, even if you already knew. Matt Gaetz, the Beavis and Butthead guys. I don't know which one's Beavis and which one's Butthead. I don't know which one he resembles. I just know that he looks like one of them. They released the ethics report. The Republican-led House committee released the report. Fantastic. And it found everything that we already knew. Drugs, sex, both of which are, in some context based. Matt Gaetz found the way to make sex not based, which was by having it with a minor, Really found a way to thread the needle on that one. Yeah, it's it's pretty bad. Keep in mind that when Donald Trump picked him to be, I know you've probably forgotten this because of the pace the news cycle currently moves at, the Attorney General of the United States, literally the highest legal authority in the entire country. When Donald Trump selected him to be just that, it was known. All of the stuff that is being released now was known to Trump, was known to Trump's administration. They're fine with it. Pedophilia is not only not a damning or invalidating characteristic in the Trump administration, it is presumably like an entrance fee. Like you need to be one in order to get on in there. It's hideous, essentially. I'm trying to find the tweet that had the rundown. Oh, there it is. How lovely. Here you go. Again, it's exactly what you think it is, right? Regularly paid women to have sex with him. If you've seen him and heard him talk, that makes sense. In 2017, he the 17-year-old, illegal drugs, gifts that exceeded the contribution limit or the gift limit, violated those rules. In 2018, Representative Gaetz arranged for his chief of staff to assist a woman with whom he engaged sexual activity in obtaining a passport, falsely indicating to the U.S. Department of State that she was a constituent. So, sex trafficking and illegal immigration, phenomenal stuff. The Attorney General. He was going to be the Attorney General. I had this. The only reason this ended up being disqualifying, the only reason that he isn't going to be the Attorney General, it's not because of how bad this all is, by the way. It's because of how bad the optics are. People just don't like Gaetz, which makes sense because he's not only reprehensible, but stupid and unfunny. You can get away with a lot if you're affable, It's not like Republican, the other Republican House members who didn't like Gaetz are good people. They're probably just, smarter and more tasteful than him. And that's a low bar, by the way, not a compliment. That one, I forget which one it was, that one Republican House member who was like, he didn't name Matt Gaetz, but he was obviously talking about Matt Gaetz. And he was saying like Matt Gaetz would run up to other people in the House, like in the Capitol building, with nudes of women on his phone. He'd be like, check this out, guys. Like he's he's 14 or something. It literally like holds up phone, guys, check this out. And it's some girl with her tits out or something. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I've said this before, but one of the like very, very few and minor saving graces of the Republican Party is that a lot of the people who have been elected, especially those elected before Trump, are megalomaniacal in their own way and don't really like the fact that they've had to completely bend the knee to Trump in order to continue to be politically relevant. So as a consequence of that, like they'll do what they need to do to not get called out by Trump and get reelected, but they don't like tolerating Trump's sycophants like Boebert or Matt Gaetz or Marjorie Taylor Greene. Sorry about the hiccups. I always worry that when I hiccup on stream, it looks like I'm resisting the urge to vomit because you make like a noise and you do like this. And I worry that the mere mention of someone like Matt Gaetz, like it's bad. It doesn't like make me want to throw up. For that, I would need like, what food am I really grossed out by? I don't know why I'm thinking about this now. I probably shouldn't be. I don't think I have any like major food gross outs. I'm trying to think. There has to be at least. I recently tried like a bed of long mushrooms. I went to a nice sushi place with my beloved partner, and there was sushi or sashimi that was served on a bed of mushrooms, and I tried the mushrooms at their behest, and it almost immediately like made me gag. Maybe that's like the worst thing I can remember trying in recent memory. So yeah, I guess that in terms of like immediate impression, those mushrooms were worse to me than Matt Gaetz's mention is, but I think that like Matt Gaetz has the potential to, and has probably already done, more political harm to this country than that particular bed of mushrooms. Sorry, just evaluating. Don't worry about me. Yeah, Matt Gaetz is already on his way out from the party. Again, he's widely unliked, and he, left Congress. He's dropped. He's not going for AG anymore. He's just too much of a political hot potato, basically. He did a little while ago threaten to expose the other, the rest of Congress if they release the House ethics report. Basically, like, if you prove I'm a pedophile, then I'll prove you're all pedophiles. Which, please, King, Cook. And earlier this morning, before the report was actually released, he, I'm not kidding here, tried to sue the House committee. I'm sorry, was it a lawsuit? It was 11th hour restraining order. I think he might still be filing a lawsuit. He claims it's an unconstitutional attempt, quote, to exercise jurisdiction over a private citizen. He was going to be the attorney general as of like 2 weeks ago, through the threatened release of an investigative report containing potentially defamatory accusations in violation of the committee's own rules. Speaking of rules, it rules that this got released. Again, nothing new here, but again, like, to the right wing, to people who fell for it again, to people who think that Trump is going to make America great again, you might turn your tail on Matt Gaetz. You might go at some point, you might acknowledge that he's embarrassing enough that you can stop pretending to like him and just acknowledge that he's an embarrassing fuckwit. But you can't get over the fact Donald Trump was going to have him as AG while knowing he's a pedophile. Donald Trump is also a pedophile. You can't get around that. I'm sorry. How are they covering it?
Breaking right now, the House Ethics Committee has just released its report on Matt Gaetz. Let's get to Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill.
Chad?
Hey, Chad.
Julie, good morning. It's a 37-page report, and the committee claims that there is, quote, substantial evidence that Gaetz violated House rules. The committee says Gaetz was involved in prostitution, statutory rape, and the use of illicit drugs. Now, it says that Gaetz had sex with multiple women at a party in Florida in 2017 and paid them as prostitutes. The committee says that Gaetz also had sex with a then 17-year-old girl. The report says that victim received $400 from Gaetz. The committee says she did not tell Gaetz how old she was. She had just completed her junior year in high school. Now, Gaetz is suing to block the release of the report. His effort for an injunction says information
makes you wonder what kind of parties he was going to where that was even on the table. You know what I mean? Like, Your Honor, I didn't know she was 17. Really? Where'd you meet her? And he's like, oh, well, we met outside the varsity volleyball. Like I was doing my rounds walking past the high school, and I saw there was some girl. It was right after fourth period, so I knew they had a 23-minute window, more or less, where they'd be free before the 7 minutes it would take for them to walk back to the main grounds. So I struck up a conversation with these two girls who had braces. Yeah, okay, all right, Gaetz, if that is your real name.
And the report is, quote, false. It adds that the reputation of Gaetz, quote, would be immediate, severe, and irreversible. Some Gaetz allies criticized the Ethics Committee.
It's a report. It is not a court of law. I think it's vindictive in nature. I just don't see what the point in all this is. A couple of old-timers are going to cackle about it. And
remarkable how Republicans react to an adult man having sex with a child when it's not politically advantageous for them to make a fuss about it. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, what is this? It's not anything, and even if it is, so it's not anything. Whatever. So people are going to laugh at it, I guess. Okay, whatever.
And again, it's not been proven. This is just a report.
House Speaker Mike Johnson opposed releasing the report since Gaetz is no longer a member. The House twice rejected 2 Democratic motions to force the release of the report. Now, the feds cleared Gaetz of wrongdoing earlier this year. Gaetz admits to what he termed, quote,
they did not clear him of wrongdoing. They were pressed into dropping the investigation, right? The political conniving, the like machinations to drop the investigation into Gaetz, that was like one of the most obvious and transparent. God damn it, I'm like half remembering. Was once embroiled in a sex trafficking investigation by the House Justice Department that he's been tapped to lead. This was written before he dropped the case. Now, where's the one under Barr? The federal sex trafficking investigation that began under Attorney General Bill Barr during Trump's first term focused on allegations that Gaetz and one-time political ally Joe Greenberg paid underage girls and escorts, offered them gifts in exchange for sex. Greenberg, a fellow Republican who served as the tax collector in Florida's Seminole County, admitted as part of a plea deal with prosecutors in 2021 that he paid women and an underage girl to have sex with him and other men. The men were not identified in court documents, so he pled guilty. Greenberg was sentenced in late 2022 to 11 years in prison. Remain under investigation, sex trafficking 17-year-old girl. The committee began its review of Gaetz in April 2021, deferred its work in response to a Justice Department request, and renewed its work shortly after Gaetz announced that the Justice Department had ended a sex trafficking investigation. So yeah, they never cleared him of wrongdoing. There's more to this, but I forget the details, and I can feel my cough acting back up.
Embarrassing behavior. Back to you.
Chad Pergram, thank you very much.
Wow, great closer. Wow, you look uncanny. Did you see her whole hair move like that? Like Lego? Like a Lego hairpiece?
Chad Pergram, thank you very much.
I'm Steve Duke. That's crazy. Well, again, like, in order to get in with Trump's crew, you need to be a pedo, but you can't be that obvious or embarrassing about it. Those are the rules. Those are the rules.